October marks a turning point. Nature shifts, and so does history. As the days grow shorter and the air turns crisp, the world seems to pause, reflecting on what has come before and what lies ahead. In America, October has been a month of crisis and transformation. It's a time when the nation has faced some of its most defining moments, both triumphant and tragic. These aren't just dates on a calendar, they're moments that shape the nation's destiny, echoing through generations. From discovery to revolution, collapse to near catastrophe, October's stories reveal America's evolving identity and the resilience of its people. We'll revisit 4 pivotal Octobers: a mistaken voyage, a revolution's end, an economic crash, and a nuclear standoff that brought the world to the brink. Each event tested the country's resolve and changed its course, leaving a lasting mark on the American story. These moments are more than history. They're lessons in ambition, struggle, and hope, inspiring new generations to dream and persevere. By exploring them, we see how America has faced its greatest challenges, coming together in times of uncertainty and forging a path forward. Let's begin our journey through these defining Octobers where the past and present meet, and the future is shaped. The past is never far away. It lingers in our traditions, our memories, and the stories we tell. It's alive in every October, reminding us of where we've been and where we're going. On October 12, 1492, after weeks at sea, Rodrigo de Triana, a lookout aboard the Pinta, finally spotted land on the horizon, ending a long and uncertain voyage across the Atlantic. Columbus, convinced he had reached the fabled shores of Asia, had in fact arrived in the Bahamas, stepping onto land that was entirely unknown to Europeans. For Europe, this moment opened a gateway to new worlds, sparking an age of exploration, ambition, and unprecedented encounters between continents. But for the Taíno, and millions of indigenous people already living in these lands, it marked the beginning of profound upheaval, loss, and devastation. Disease, conquest, and exploitation soon followed, forever altering the Americas and shattering ancient cultures that had thrived for centuries. The Columbian Exchange transformed global diets and economies, introducing new crops, animals, and goods, but these changes came at a terrible human cost. Columbus was once celebrated as a daring hero and explorer. Today, we also recognize the tragedy and suffering his arrival brought to indigenous peoples. The events of October 1492 are both a story of wonder, discovery, and ambition, and a story of loss, displacement, and irreversible change. It marks the first chapter in America's long, complex, and often painful history, a history still being written and re-examined today. The legacy of Columbus's voyage continues to spark debate, reflection, and calls for justice, reminding us that history is never simple. October 1781, after years of war, American and French forces trapped the British at Yorktown. The siege is relentless, hope fades for the British. On October 19th, Cornwallis surrenders. British troops lay down arms as "The World Turned Upside Down" plays. The Revolution's last major battle secures American independence. News of the victory electrifies the young nation and stuns the world. A small group of colonies, with French help, had defeated an empire. The dream of independence became reality on an autumn day in Virginia. Yorktown was a turning point. America's future was forever changed. October's legacy: freedom won through unity and resolve. The Roaring Twenties promised endless prosperity, until October 1929. Speculation fueled a stock market bubble, but cracks appeared. Black Thursday triggered panic. Black Tuesday, October 29th, brought collapse. Fortunes vanished in hours. The Great Depression began. Banks failed. Businesses closed. Millions lost everything. The crash's shockwaves spread worldwide. America learned hard lessons about risk and regulation. New rules and safety nets followed, reshaping government and society. October 1929 was a wake-up call. Prosperity can vanish overnight. Its impact still echoes today. October 1962. The world stands on the brink. Tension fills the air as families gather around radios and televisions, anxiously awaiting news. The threat of nuclear war suddenly feels real, and everyday life is overshadowed by fear and uncertainty. U.S. spy planes reveal Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from American shores. The discovery sends shockwaves through the White House and across the nation, as leaders realize the world is closer than ever to catastrophe. President Kennedy faces a terrifying choice: attack and risk all-out war, or attempt to negotiate and hope for a peaceful solution. Every decision carries enormous consequences for millions of lives. For 13 days, the world holds its breath as American and Soviet warships face off in the Atlantic, and leaders exchange urgent, secret messages. The fate of humanity hangs in the balance. One wrong move could mean nuclear war. Across the globe, people prepare for the worst. Schools hold drills, families build fallout shelters, and protesters march for peace. Kennedy chooses diplomacy, announcing a naval blockade to prevent more missiles from arriving and demanding the removal of those already in Cuba. The world watches, hoping for a peaceful outcome. Behind the scenes, tense negotiations unfold between American and Soviet officials. Every word and gesture is carefully weighed, as both sides search for a way to avoid disaster. On October 28, a deal is struck. Soviets agree to withdraw their missiles, and the US pledges not to invade Cuba. Relief sweeps the globe as the immediate threat of war fades. Secretly, America also agrees to remove its nuclear missiles from Turkey, a key part of the compromise that remains hidden from the public for years. The crisis ends, but the lesson is clear. October nearly brought disaster, but also inspired new efforts for peace and communication between superpowers. The world was forever changed by those tense October days, as leaders and citizens alike realized the true cost of nuclear brinkmanship and the value of diplomacy.